Guys, we're just gonna have a great time together this afternoon.
Do not fully understand.
Only 4 of you guys, and you only have one shot left in here. You know?
Oh my God, Jay! What is that thing? I'm scared of you, sir, and I'm protecting myself. That is all I'm doing. Now.
This man claims he has been to the year 5000.
You killed my teacher!
You got changed for 100.
Teacher!
You will be obsolete in the new order. You will become one with the Borg. The Klingon Empire will never yield. You are lucky this is not a Klingon ship.
Go back to work.
Oh my.
Oh, I hit the glory hole right here.
Come get some. I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. To the blood bank.
Hey, welcome back to another Night Talk live.
One time I ate my neighbor's shit.
Yes. Night Talk live.
It's all happening.
Yeah, it's all happening. Today, July 2nd, 2018, is the anniversary of the Roswell crash. It is World UFO Day. World UFO Day. So let's all take the time, pause, and think about all the mysterious and unusual things out there in the world. Paranormal sightings, activity, encounters, and Roswell. Kind of the thing that started it all, but wasn't too popularized until the late 80s, early 90s. And since that time, there's been many theories about what crashed in New Mexico, who was responsible, what happened with that debris afterwards. Oh my Lord, and people make fun of it. People will use that as a point in any argument. In any argument, they will use Roswell as a point to say, hey, nothing's real. We would have found out something by now. Or they will say, oh, look at the cover-ups. It's such a convoluted subject at this point. Over 50 years. How many? I can't even do the math. I can't even do the math how many years ago. It's been like 70 years, 70 plus years. Yeah. But it is World UFO Day. And I'll be talking about some UFO news. What's been going on in the news when it comes to UFOs and aliens? It's all the hype. It seems to be back on the radar now, thanks to the Space Force.
Space Force.
Everyone is concerned about an alien threat because we might need that Space Force.
Space Force
to combat any extraterrestrial threat out there that might be coming in to take our food off our family. Mm-hmm. It might be happening. I've been reading the Skinwalker Ranch book, written by George Knapp and another gentleman whose name I don't remember. And it is just a fascinating tale. I'm like about 1/3 of the way through the book, right before the actual investigation begins. For anybody who doesn't know what Skinwalker Ranch is, I implore you, go out there. If you're fascinated with the paranormal topic and UFOs, Bigfoot, and just the absurdity of some of these encounters, look up Skinwalker Ranch. I might be doing another segment pretty soon on it. But I've been reading this book at night, which is a mistake. Don't read these books at night. I get scared of dark and of weird things that go bump in the night. And when you read these books, especially with some of these more strange, evil entities, and then when you lay your head down to go to sleep, my mind is swimming with all this stuff, and it's just hard. I got to read this stuff during the day. The reason is, like, there's some of the stories that happen on the Skinwalker Ranch. I know I played them, but it's different when you read it in the full text of these accounts. Like these balls of light would show up on the ranch. You know, it's a family out there on Skinwalker Ranch, and every time these wisps of light would show up the next day, they would find a couple of their cattle mutilated. Traditional cattle mutilation, where there would be laser-like precision cuts taking out some of the reproductive organs of the cattle. And you know, when you hear that kind of stuff, oh my God, they're observing these lights. The ranchers are able to kind of put together like a pattern, like they see the lights. Oh my God, I got to keep an eye on the herd to make sure they're safe. But without fail, they'll like keep an eye on the herd, and then 20 minutes later, when they come back, one of the cows or calves or babies or ox or something like that's dead within a 20-minute time span. And then these whips of light seem to be taunting not only the humans there, but dogs, and harassing. And like they're obviously these wisps of light, almost like a classical like ball of light UFO kind of thing, seem to be aware that they're being observed and interact with their surroundings and the people there. It is such a fascinating story, Skinwalker Ranch, because it has elements of like cryptozoology. When there's Bigfoot sightings, Sasquatch Dogman sightings. There are UFO sightings, portals in the sky, and then you have what only can be described as portals in the ground. And I'm still digging through it, and it's at parts just creepy and terrifying, because the legend of the Skinwalker itself is a Native American Navajo Ute legend of a witch of pure evil that can change shape, take any form it wants, to do just ungodly acts to another person. And the curse of the Skinwalker is that if a Skinwalker happens to be a target, or let's say a Skinwalker targets you with, let's say, a curse, you're pretty much good as gone, unless you recognize that you are actually cursed by that Skinwalker, and then that curse actually gets flipped around, and it will go back and kill the person who performed that curse. It's just these legends and stories that come from that part of the world in New Mexico. You have accounts of police officers being chased by large dogs. I mean, not just like wolves, but huge dogs pacing their police cars. And then you have UFO sightings in the same area. In New Mexico, you have the Roswell crash. You have another crash away from Roswell, Dulce. What's going on in New Mexico? What is all this stuff? There haven't been enough books written on this stuff, and I'm obviously digging into it. And I know this is probably old hat for a lot of people out there when it comes, but I try to keep up on this stuff. You read all this stuff and you forget some of the details, and so you go back and reread it again or learn some new information and realize how truly bizarre New Mexico is. It's a strange place, people.
Oh my.
But I'll be putting together another Skinwalker Ranch segment soon. I'm pouring through that book. I can only read it in the daytime because I get scared. 614-388-9109. The phone lines are wide open. I will break open some of the stories I got about UFOs, and we'll start with this one. Let me transition on over there, people. Come on, let's go. What are you waiting for? Let's go.
I'm going to lose my mind today.
I am going to lose my mind today. Crazy with UFOs. Oh, my God. In the Skinwalker Ranch.
Ding.
It's got me crazy. Oh, boy. Hey, it is Teddy Spaghetti. How you doing there?
Fucking aliens.
Fucking aliens.
I feel sorry for your mother.
Yes. Sorry about that.
So what's going on tonight there, Midnight Mike?
It is World UFO Day.
Fuck yeah, let's celebrate.
It is World UFO Day. We're recognizing and remembering the this anniversary of the Roswell crash. Roswell crash, yes.
Fuck yeah. It's been too long without enough answers. One thing you went over earlier I was listening to was the whole cattle mutilation thing. I've always been extremely interested in mutilation cases, especially since the 90s when it was like epidemic proportions. And I think there's only a few cases of human mutilation. I'm real sorry, Mike. Can I call you right back? I believe my drug dealer is beeping in.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I'll give you a call right back,
Sure.
Mike. My apologies. I just got to talk to my drug dealer.
Sure.
Bye.
Okay, bye. There he goes.
Oh, I hit the glory hole right here.
Yes. Cattle mutilations. He brings that up. Yeah, cattle mutilations is a big deal. It's physical evidence that's left behind of some unexplained kind of phenomenon. Now, there was a big investigation that went on, I believe, it probably was like the 80s and 90s when it really came to the forefront of mainstream culture and news. There's a lot of ranchers out there in the Southwest and in Colorado that were impacted by cattle mutilation. So much so, they petitioned the government to do an official investigation. A senator got involved. There were actually, I think there was a congressional hearing on this because, the ranchers, they have a large amount of land out there. They're probably pretty involved in the community looking after the land. And it's their livelihood to make sure that their livestock is taken care of. And when they're impacted and they're losing thousands of dollars worth of cattle, yeah, you're going to call your congressman. You're going to call the local sheriff to see if they're going to investigate. And they did investigate. They had a blue ribbon panel put together to investigate what was behind the cattle mutilations. And they assigned some ex-FBI guy who had no background in veterinary science or forensics or pathology to really determine cause of death. And he just wrote it all off as natural predators. Some predator was doing all these cattle mutilations. He didn't take into account the surgical precision, laser-like cuts on the cattle. Didn't take into account time frame or where some of these cattle mutilations took place. One of the incidents from Skinwalker Ranch, the rancher was out in the middle of a blizzard trying to herd his cattle and that were freaked out, probably by one of these wisps of light. And he tracked the cow, and it looked like through the tracks in the snow, it was going like full steam. It was this going full bore, running as fast as it could, which is, according to the rancher, very unusual for cattle to do in the snowstorm. They probably want to huddle up next to some tree or some brush to get cover. But this thing was in full gallop out into the middle of the ranch where there was no cover from the snow or blizzard. And then all of a sudden, the tracks stopped dead. There was no signs of struggle. It was just, you see hoof prints and then nothing. Like it got sucked up into the sky. Or it went through a doorway and wound up someplace else. But he never saw that cattle again there on Skinwalker Ranch. But some of the other cattle mutilations, there's evidence. You can see there's photographs. It was a big deal. It was a big deal. And still is. I don't think it happens as much, or if it does, it's not being as reported. And there have been rumors like what causes. And one of the more interesting theories I heard about cattle mutilations is that it was military using advanced technology to come in and out to get samples from cattle to measure the impact of radioactive fallout from all the testing done out west there. So they'd explode bombs, that radiation would go up into the atmosphere, fall back down onto the land, cattle would graze on that land, and they wanted to measure the impact of that radioactive element within the cattle by abducting the cattle in super high technology flying saucers and laser-like precision to cut out their organs and then analyze them later. Maybe. It's possible. I'm not going to throw it out, but I would hope that there would be a more efficient way and legal way to measure the damage done by radioactive fallout done by the test that we did out there in the West. I guess if you're so scared that you're contaminating possibly the entire country, you might want to keep that testing under wraps. It's a very strong possibility. But as for this first article, I will bring up on screen, please. Can I load this first article, please? Yes, we're loading it up. My internet's a little slow, just a tiny bit slow. The headline here, ex-NASA physics professor claims many governments have covered up alien encounters and says humanity must face the possibility UFO sightings really are alien craft. This is what an ex-NASA guy is saying. What happened there? Did the call finally hang up or something? I don't know what happened there. I thought he hung up on me. Was Teddy Spaghetti on the line that entire time? I was sitting there babbling like an idiot. Oh, my Lord.
I do not fully understand.
I did hang up the phone. Okay, this article. Ex-NASA physics professor claims many governments have covered up alien encounters. Are we alone? Unfortunately, neither of the answers feel satisfactory. To be alone in a vast universe is a lonely prospect. On the other hand, if we are not alone and there is someone or something more powerful out there, that too is terrifying. A NASA research scientist and now professor of physics. This is a weird sentence. Okay. Where's Teddy? As a NASA research scientist and now professor of physics, I attended the 2002 NASA Contact Conference in which focused on serious speculation about extraterrestrials. During the meeting, a concerned participant said loudly in a sinister tone, "You have absolutely no idea what is out there." The silence was palpable as the truth of his statement sunk in. Humans are fearful of extraterrestrials visiting Earth. Perhaps, unfortunately, the distance between the stars are prohibitively vast. He says, maybe, perhaps, fortunately. I'm having a tough time reading, folks. Stick with me. At least this is what we novices who are just learning to travel into space tell ourselves. Of course, I've always been interested in UFOs. Of course, there was an excitement that there could be aliens and others living in other living worlds. But more exciting to me was the possibility that interstellar travel was technologically achievable. In 1988, during my second week of graduate school at Montana State University, several students and I were discussing a recent cattle mutilation that was associated with UFOs. A physics professor joined the conversation and told us that he had colleagues working at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Great Falls, Montana, where they were having problems with UFOs shutting down nuclear missiles. Interesting. At the time, I thought the professor was talking nonsense, but 20 years later, I was stunned to see a recording of the press conference featuring several former U.S. Air Force personnel with a couple of Malmstrom Air Force Base describing similar occurrences in the 1960s. Clearly, there must be something to this. So this is quite a lengthy article, and I'm obviously having trouble reading today. So I will try to cut to the chase here. So this is a cut to the middle of this article here. Carl Sagan correctly summarized the situation by saying that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. The problem is there is no single well-documented UFO encounter that would alone qualify as a smoking gun. The situation is exacerbated by the fact that many governments around the world have covered up and classified information about such encounters. Well, we had that article last year about this. But yeah, they're covering up a lot. Obviously. What about the Rendlesham Forest UFO encounter by that military base? They covered it up too. Good stuff, though. I think there could be great UFO encounters with plenty of evidence if they don't bullshit us, of course. When it comes to science, the scientific method requires hypothesis to be testable so that inferences can be made. UFO encounters are neither controllable nor repeatable, which makes their study extremely challenging. But the real problem, in my view, is that the UFO topic is taboo. That's absolutely correct. When you bring up any of this paranormal stuff to anyone out there in the mainstream, they say, oh, little green men or green skin. They say that over and over again. You can't talk about this stuff in a rational, reasonable, logical way. That's changing. I think the UFO topic is definitely way more accepted than it used to be. While the general public has been fascinated with UFOs for decades, our government, scientists, and media have essentially declared that all of the UFO sightings are a result of weather phenomenon or human actions. That is true. What if I increase the size of my text? What if my peepers... Oh, that's it. Ah, there we go. I increased the size of that text so I can read a little bit more. They declare none are actually extraterrestrial spacecraft and no aliens have visited Earth. Essentially, we are told the topic is nonsense. UFOs are off limits to serious scientific study and rational discussion, which unfortunately leaves the topic in the domain of fringe and pseudoscientists, many of whom litter the field with conspiracy theories and wild speculation. That's what I do. Although I'm not pseudoscientific, I'm just pseudo talk show host. I think the UFO skepticism has become something of a religion with an agenda discounting the possibility of extraterrestrials without scientific evidence, while often providing silly hypotheses describing only one or two aspects of the UFO encounters, reinforcing the popular belief that there is a conspiracy, which is true. They build strongman arguments all the time when you talk about any of these topics that seem a little bit off the beaten path. They'll say, oh, my God, you saw a UFO encounter? Oh, yeah, E.T. He loves Reese's Pieces. We're not going to talk about this anymore. Let's carry on down here. How does this end? What are the last two paragraphs? Because I love that, because there's obviously a lot of documents here on this, and there's a lot of cool things in this article, which is featured. You can click on the article in the description below, and you can read it to your heart's content. While there is much excitement about such disclosures, I am reminded of a quote from retired Army Colonel John Alexander. Disclosure has happened. I've gotten stacks of generals, including Soviet generals, who've come out and said UFOs are real. My point is, how many times do senior officials need to come forward and say that this is real? And that's true. There's been plenty of whistleblowers, former Air Force, Army, Navy guys. There was a whole disclosure panel in, I think, 2000, 2001. Stephen Greer was there. They've been in front of the media. They've been on Larry King Live. There's been plenty of people associated with the government in high-ranking positions that have come forward and said, hey, these UFOs are real. There's something crazy out there, probably aliens. They've come forward and said that, but, the media still laughs. Why does the media still laugh? We'll hazard some theories here in a bit. There is a great deal of evidence that a small percentage of these UFO sightings are unidentified structured craft exhibiting flight capabilities beyond any known human technology. While there's no single case for which there exists evidence that would stand up to scientific rigor, there are cases with simultaneous observations by multiple reliable witnesses, along with radar returns and photographic evidence revealing patterns of activity that are compelling. Declassified information from covert studies is interesting, but not scientifically helpful. This is a topic worthy of open scientific inquiry until there is a scientific consensus based on evidence rather than prior expectation or belief. If there are indeed extraterrestrial crafts visiting Earth, it would greatly benefit us to know about them, their nature, and their intent. No shit, motherfucker. That's what we believe. We should do this. Moreover, this would present a great opportunity for mankind, promising to expand and advance our knowledge and technology, as well as reshaping our understanding for our planet, or for our place in the universe. So why is it? You have ex-astronauts. You have ex-Navy officials, government officials. You even have CIA guys now working with Tom DeLonge on some kind of space business. And they come out. They're by proxy saying, yeah, UFOs are real. Or they will just come out and say, yeah, UFOs, there are alien craft flying in the skies. We don't know exactly what they are, but they're real. And then the media will just turn around and go, huh, well, little green men, there only can be a couple explanations. Is that it is so unbelievable that the media, I'm just using the media as like just one great media entity, like they have one mind, because maybe they do. That the information that they're hearing about this UFO disclosure from these former government officials is so jarring that they can't process it and don't want to believe it because it would change their perspective of reality. And they're just not ready for it yet. Possibility. That was dismiss it out of hand because they don't want to have their reality shaken. Another possibility is, obviously, they know about this information when they interview it or they go to report on it. And someone or something, the editor, the news editor, government influences may suggest to these media people to make fun of it a little bit, poke fun out of it, make a mockery of it in a journalistic way. So it discredits the entire thing because it's not time for the public to know about this stuff because they have a timetable for disclosure. And when these whistleblowers come out and talk about this stuff, it undermines whatever kind of disclosure timetable they have. So they have to make fun of it up until it's ready to be declared real by the powers that be. I think that's the most likely scenario. I don't think that whatever kind of secret space program that has this technology really wants its hand forced to be, okay, our hand is, you're forcing our hand, we'll just come out with all the information. No, they want to let it out on their own. This is some awesome technology. They don't want anyone just to get their hands on it. They have a monopoly on this technology right now, meaning they have the rights. And I don't know if they have the rights to it. They're willfully keeping it, that technology, away from any other government or business to make money off of. If it's free energy or much more free energy than what it currently is, that would undermine the economy, collapse certain economies. Yeah, they want to manage this thing. It's all about information management. It's all it's about, in money. That's why no one cares about disclosure. And that's why the scientific community doesn't want to investigate any of this stuff. And when it is investigated, they just make fun of it. They don't even take it seriously. Why aren't you taking me seriously, person on the phone?
We don't take Tom DeLonge seriously because he's an ex fucking musician.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yes.
It's Angry Leprechaun, by the way.
Yeah.
That's right.
This is right. Angry Leprechaun. Yes, thank you. Yeah, look, there's I know why they're not taking him seriously, but all the other whistleblowers, all the other like ex-Navy people, Army, there's been a lot of whistleblowers that come out to address the UFO topic in the media.
Yeah, I think they don't. One of the reasons also don't take seriously, as you were saying, was like they're trying to release it incrementally, and these guys are like, no, let's just get all this shit out here now and just shovel it out because, you know, people might need access to this technology. But what I'm wondering is if like the unveiling of this technology is going to escalate, because I remember before Trump was elected, I was listening to Alex Jones a bit more, and he was saying one of Trump's goals would be to start rolling out this advanced technology.
Yeah,
like that was something like they were talking about, and you know, it was something he was going to plan on doing. So this might be him doing it.
I think if we are to believe that Trump, because I guess Alex Jones had private conversations with Trump, and Trump is aware of this technology, and I heard the same thing as well, that Trump wants to roll out this advanced technology, whether it's propulsion systems or energy sources or life extension technology. He wants to roll it out, and is that Trump forcing the hand of this deep space program. You can call it the deep state when it comes to intelligence, but the deep space program that holds all this technology, possibly. But they're not going to do it willy nilly. It's got to be some kind of tit for tat here. So what are they going to get in return if they release this technology to the public? So there's got to be some kind of give and take here. They're just not going to do it out of the goodness of their heart because they haven't done it before. What are they getting?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's like some sort of
Space Force.
So we'll give you all the. Yes.
Maybe Space Force.
Maybe if we actually are under threat from aliens, then just a whole Space Marines, basically, and a shitload.
That might be it. It might be, look, if we release this technology, you got to give us another branch of the military that is hugely funded. We need more government contacts. Basically, they want a guaranteed income. It is the military-industrial complex we're talking about. They run on billions of dollars a year, and the defense budget is going to balloon up even more. So that means they can just line their pockets with our tax dollars for years to come because of the Space Force.
Yeah, that definitely seems like it's likely. And the other thing, going back to why conspiracy theorists talk about aliens are labeled as crazy, it's because, like, I don't know if it was Orwell who said it, but somebody said the people who tell the truth will be labeled as crazy. The people who are on the cutting edge of, like, saying what needs to be said will always be labeled as insane because it fucks with the paradigm, and people like to live in the paradigm. People like the Matrix.
It's very comfortable to be in that world where all the rules are given to you, how to think is given to you. It is. And I think there's something to that. I mean, if you kind of think outside the box or think about just not necessarily believe in like this stuff, but consider the possibilities. Not only is it more fun, but you are an outlier of thinking in normal society, and you'll be labeled as crazy. Just talking about, I don't even think I could have a conversation at work realistically about Bigfoot and not be seen as a lunatic. I think they would question all the code I write. And
yeah, definitely.
It's not that I couldn't talk about this stuff in a serious manner, but I don't think they would take me as serious as they might need to. So yeah, there is a bit of a hurdle to get over when talking about these subjects. And like, as this person wrote in this article, scientists can't be afraid to investigate this stuff. And there are plenty of other scientists who will dip their toe into these subjects, and then they'll write a book about whether it's paranormal stuff, psychic abilities, or either consciousness, and it's just panned. People don't, it's not like, oh my God, we have proof now. It's just, people just don't talk about it on the mainstream media. It's not talked about on Facebook, that's for damn sure, when people are begging for evidence, and you send them links and they don't read it. So it's about the reality. They don't want to change their mind about what it is.
Yeah, and without disclosing too much, I'm going to go into a more accelerated degree program.
Mm-hmm.
And I already know the field I'm going into is like very scientific. And if I discuss any of the shit that I listen to on this show, they're going to laugh me out of the classroom. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. I could get away with it. My degree was in fine arts, so they expect you to be kind of loony. But, I work in IT now. And yeah, there's a lot of goofy, weird people in IT. Talking about UFOs is one thing, but then talking about things like at Skinwalker Ranch or witches and Bigfoot, that's a whole nother thing. I think it's a little bit more acceptable to talk about the possibility of aliens out there and what they might look like. It's another to talk about is Bigfoot having sex with those aliens. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, these are important questions.
Yes, they are.
Are we going to get some hybrid Bigfoot alien chimera kind of bullshit here? Because if we are, we might be in real trouble then.
Well, I played that clip last week with the Dulce experiments about those small little furry creatures. That's about as close as that we've heard thus far. But it might not be out of the realm of possibility. There's some weird stuff going on. You don't have to tell me exactly what you're studying, but is it computer science or it is like some kind of physics
It's a softer science.
Softer science, okay. Soft science. Oh, I like it. Okay.
Sounds it's not It's in STEM, but it's not like physics or biology. So yeah, and this might be disclosing too much, but like if you start getting into mind control, my cohorts will be like, well, that's just ridiculous. I'll be like, actually, no, it's not, because we all emit EM fields, and and the thing against my ear right now,
it's just keep your mouth shut. That's all you can do. Yeah, they're not gonna take you seriously if you start talking about this stuff. All right, man, you got anything else for me?
No, have a good night, man.
All right, thanks, Angry Leprechaun. I think that's who that was. Sometimes I forget mid-sentence who the hell I'm talking about.
Okay, thank you for your call.
There's so many different theories out there. Sometimes you can't talk about them. Sometimes you can, depending on what company you keep. I'm willing to talk about this stuff with anybody. If anybody asks me, like in my personal life, about any of this stuff, because they know I do like a conspiracy paranormal show, I'll just tell them, hey, I believe this. This is what I think about, and that's just the way I believe things are. In fact, I had this conversation with one of my good friends last night. I went to college with him, and he listened to Joe Rogan, and so he's familiar with the UFO topic, but he doesn't really believe any of it. He's like, oh, it's just all military stuff, or it's just people thinking they see stuff, but it's all military craft. And I was like, I don't know. It's not all military craft. I don't believe it's all military craft. I do believe a significant portion of the eyewitnesses. And I was like, once you start digging into UFO stuff, and then you get into the consciousness stuff, and it really opens up your eyes that the world in reality is much bigger. It's not just about the technology. There's another element to this thing, and it's us. It's the observer that is the other element to all this phenomenon. I do have a clip here about an alternate Roswell theory, and this comes from Nick Redfern. So the theories thus far, when it comes to Roswell, Colonel Philip Corso, the author, The Day After Roswell, in his book, he said, look, there was a crash at Roswell. It was extraterrestrial biological entities. We harvested their technology. They were from, I believe, Zeta Reticuli, the commonly known like the little grays. And then you had a book come out called Area 51. And that author claimed that it was a Soviet experiment that had mutated smaller humanoids in there. That went down, and that's what it was. They didn't want to say it was the Soviets because that would have looked like an invasion, so they made up the UFO thing, and they backtracked. Then people think that because of the Nazi UFOs, it was a show of force by the Nazis, and that's what crashed down. And also they had to cover up that because you couldn't have Nazis invading the U.S. after the war supposedly ended. I like that theory a lot. I like the Nazi UFO. And then you had the government versions of like Project Mogul, high altitude aircraft, and them testing high altitude weather balloons, and the dead bodies of aliens were actually dummies. And then you have this theory, which is by Nick Redfern, which is along that line, but with a little bit of a different twist.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a number of theories, as I said, in relation to what did or didn't happen at Roswell. One particular story that I've been investigating since the early 2000s suggests a theory that in many ways is more darker and more dangerous and more controversial, sinister than the idea that aliens crashed. And it focuses on the idea of human experimentation, essentially human guinea pigs used in high-altitude flights over New Mexico that encompassed gigantic balloon arrays and lifting body-type aircraft. Essentially, it was part and parcel of a program to determine how the human body would react to high-altitude exposure. Now, this was something that was fairly not that well known back in the 1940s. And we know that experiments were done on chimpanzees, on monkeys, rats, mice, even pigs. But the story that I started to uncover in the early 2000s suggested this far more controversial angle of using human test subjects, and in many cases against their will. And it seems that there are actually a number of these experiments undertaken in 47 throughout New Mexico that, according to the people I spoke to, suggested that these accounts, these incidents that went wrong and crashed, were responsible for the legends of dead aliens and crashed flying saucers.
There you go. Military experiment using human test subjects. And he went on to say that he believed that the human test subjects were prisoners. Sounds inhumane, and it is. But if you think about who they were, who the U.S. military was associating themselves with, which they were ex-Nazi people through Project Paperclip, and the Nazis had a track record of using human test subjects in their experiments. Maybe some of that mentality rubbed off on some of the top secret projects in the United States of America. I'm not. It's definitely an interesting theory. Another one to add to all the other Roswell theories at this point in time. It's hard to make heads or tails of it. There's so many different stories. But since we live in an infinite universe with all time happening once and all possibilities happening once, maybe all the theories are true. Maybe all the theories are true. Hey, Teddy, you're back on. What's going on?
Not much, man. Sorry about that earlier.
It's all right.
Serenity now!
We were talking about the cattle mutilations. I kind of gave a little bit of a rundown of the cattle mutilations and how when they actually did the official investigation, that it was kind of a whitewash. They put someone in charge of the investigation who had no knowledge or background in pathology or forensic science.
Was this the sheriff?
It was an ex-FBI official who was appointed to lead the investigation. He said, "Look, these cattle mutilations, they're the work of predators and scavengers."
Right, and they go for the soft areas like the butt and the eyes and the lips first because that's easy to get to. That's what they're saying, right?
Yeah, I mean, and no one believed it. The ranchers are still angry. I think there are still some cattle mutilations going on, and if there are as many as there once was, the media is certainly not reporting about it as much as they were.
Well, I have an interesting take on it. I think it's a take that people are probably familiar with. I recall one story, and it was a sheriff that was in charge of investigating, just a local sheriff, and he wasn't, as far as we know, he wasn't put there by the government. He was just helping the farmers, as far as we know. And he said to him, and I believe it's one of those sci-fi shows from back in the 90s or early 2000s. I forget which one. But he stated that they came upon a team of what looked to be special ops people, and as soon as they saw them, the special ops people propelled up the ropes into what looked like a triangle, but when he looked at it clearly, it was a helicopter that was quiet with a triangular light rig fitted at the bottom of it. And when they explored the cow, they found a fetus inside of it that I guess the special ops were there to harvest. And he was saying this like he had the evidence. He showed pictures of it, and they tested it, and they said the only way they could explain it is a frog, fish, human. And that story always stuck out to me. And he also said one of the reasons why he thinks the government was involved in what he was told is that they're testing for mad cow. But then, like, there might be other black projects where they do cloning or genetic experimentations. So I don't know if how much of cattle mutilation is alien and how much is government, but I'm pretty sure there is a percentage that is government just for beef and quality control. Have you ever heard that theory?
Yeah, I heard the theory that I kind of ran past was that they were doing, like, it was a government operation for the cattle mutilation to test the impact of the radioactive fallout after all the nuke bomb tests out there out west. They wanted to see what impact that had on the cattle and, in turn, us.
Well, that's odd because our stories kind of sound very similar. I wonder if both our stories are actually just cover stories for what's actually going on then. Because it's all, the government's doing this, it's testing it just for your safety, just so you know. So, yeah, it's doing something illegal, but it's for your good.
Yeah.
So,
I would also, sometimes it also might be follow the leader, that the cattle mutilations may have started off as something extraterrestrial, and the government decided to get in that business to see what they're up to. It's like, oh, they're abducting cattle. Let's go ahead and do that ourselves and perform exactly what they're doing. They basically say, why are the aliens removing the reproductive organs? What is inside those? We need to find out. Now you'd imagine that the government just could go out and like buy some cattle off that ranch and then do the experiments and testing themselves. But maybe they don't want some accounting record of why they're buying this cattle. Then they might have to explain, hey, why did you buy 6 cattle? Where are these cattle? But it's not
I
like,
don't want the fear to get out.
It's a possibility they just want to rip off some ranchers. Because they saw the aliens do it, and that's how they got on to maybe there's a whole bunch of examples where there will be one industry leader and everyone else just follows the lead, that lead. You want to be first to market and see how it goes, or just follow everyone else. I at this point, since I will have to go with it's probably part of some secret military testing going on. I think those are the most likely explanations. But the ones I saw at Skinwalker Ranch, or not saw, but read about at Skinwalker Ranch, that doesn't appear to be U.S. military. It could be a different military faction. As bizarre as this might sound, from a parallel dimension.
No, I could probably parallel. I'm actually Mandela affected, so like the whole parallel universe theories. I don't know what's going on, but it seems to be more probable than not to me at the moment.
By all accounts, it seems as though Skinwalker Ranch is at least a fairly consistent doorway to another dimension where craft can come in and out, and it's like a nexus point of energy where it is able to interact and open doorways for a certain amount of time where craft and or beings can come through and interact with our environment.
But then you also have to ask the question, why would they target the cattle? I could give an answer that I think might be satisfactory, which is that we always test our antibiotics out on them. So that's like our first line of defense against, diseases and stuff. So maybe that's why they're getting an idea of our biological capabilities to it, because one of the best ways to take over a place, I think, would just to make some sort of mutated virus. And well, I think you understand where I'm going with that.
Yeah, I do. It's a soft kill weapon over a long period of time to impact our food supply, maybe impact the way we think. Who knows? Maybe drive people crazy on social media.
Hey, I do eat a lot of burgers.
Yeah, me too. Unfortunately, I do. But they're so delicious sometimes.
Makes me pissed.
They're so. Have you ever had bison burgers?
No, I haven't had bison yet. Like venison, though.
You got to do it. It's good. Get some bison. Bison burger's good.
Yeah, Mike, I'll try it. One more thing before I go.
Yeah.
What's up with Rh negative blood? I know this is kind of like far out, but it might be intermingled with the whole UFO thing. It's always interests me. What's your opinion on Rh negative blood?
I have never heard of Rh negative blood.
Isn't that the rhesus factor? Like you're either A positive or B negative, or A negative. It's the positive or negative factor. It was like the rhesus factor. It comes from a monkey, and it's supposed to be one of these evidence that we're a hybrid species, because females with Rh negative blood, if they have a fetus with Rh positive blood, their body will reject the fetus like it's a foreign body instead of accepting it as part of its own.
No, I
don't know all the science behind that, but it's argued that proves that we're a hybrid species.
I have no idea about blood type. I don't even know my own blood type. And the first time that you just met Rh, I've never heard of this. I didn't do well in biology.
No, it's okay. But as far as aliens, this is a very interesting. The Rh factor might be something you would love to look into, Mike.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look at it.
It's kind of a rabbit hole I think you would enjoy.
Oh, I have enough rabbit holes, but I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, but this is alien shit, right?
Oh,
you know what I mean? We get enough political stuff. Where's the aliens at? The cryptids.
Yeah.
That type shit. You know what I mean?
This
That's
gets me
not
thinking.
all I got, Mike.
That's all right. Thank you, Teddy. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too, man. Peace.
Yeah, I had never heard of like RH blood. I mean, apparently I should know this. This should be common knowledge. I should know my own blood type, for crying out loud. I do not. What if I need a blood transfusion? What if someone needs to donate me blood? I don't even know what my blood type is. Is it on my license? Do they have this information on my license? It says bro. Oh, that's my hair color. Is brown. I'm not a bro. I mean, I'm not like bro blood type. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm a bro. What is my hair color? That's my birth date. It doesn't say. I'm a class D blood type. Oh. That's not helpful. Please, someone call in my blood type. All right. What do I got in the oh yeah, here's another phone call. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead, please. Thank you. What's my blood type? Tell me.
Probably O negative.
Yeah. Type O negative, of course. Isn't that the most rare blood type?
No. RH is what is one of the most rare blood types, if I remember right. Somebody in the chat, Roddy, I think, or Plot, said the same thing.
Okay.
But they're universal donors.
Yeah. Is O negative universal for everything?
No, O positive.
O positive.
If I remember right.
I just know the band Type O negative.
Yeah. I think Type O negatives can only have O negatives and some other version, but I'm not 100% sure. I just remember having it all tested when I was in the Army. So
yeah. What's on your mind tonight,
but
sir?
the RH is crazy because they've also linked it to some of the red-headed giants, that have been found all over the world.
Oh, really?
I think that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I should really look into that. This is the first time I'm really hearing about this. I can't believe I'm not more involved with this.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And if you really get deep into it, there's a lot of theories about it, and they also kind of link it to like an extraterrestrial because it's not really found very often. I think it's like in the 1 or 2 percentile of the whole entire world.
Yeah, it's you type into Bing or Google, you can type in RH blood type alien, and there's some results coming up about this. Interesting. Okay.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
I also wanted to share a UFO story with you. It just takes a second if you got time.
Oh, I got time. Go for it.
I was in basic training in Oklahoma, and we were marching towards the 2-mile run, just in formation, just marching towards it. And it was like, I don't know, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And so the stars were still out and beautiful. And I was kind of like, I don't really believe in a God. I don't know. I call him the maker, but I was just kind of like, oh, thank God, this is beautiful. And this little spot above a water tower where I was looking had 3 stars in a triangle shape. And as soon as I said that and I was looking right at it, it moved and started like corkscrewing off to, I guess it would have been the east. And I was like, in formation, you're not supposed to speak or say anything crazy or do anything really unless you really absolutely have to. But I was like, what the fuck is that? And like everybody was like looking at that same spot. There's probably 6, 7 people right around me that heard it right there. The rest of them just kind of missed it. But it corkscrewed and it showed 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, like as it corkscrewed, like at an insane rate of speed. But originally it was just sitting there, and until I looked at it, it didn't start to move. And that has always blown my mind because I've never really seen anything too crazy, and it was close enough to where like I could see it disappear between the tree line and the horizon.
Did anybody else see it? Did anybody else around you see it?
Yeah. The people directly next to me, and usually it was, a couple of my buddies would always line up with me, and I was like literally loud. I'm a loud guy anyway, and I just went, "What the fuck is that?" And I pointed at it, and I was following it, and they're like, "Well, I don't know," and they were all looking at it like, "What? What the fuck is that?" And my platoon sergeant didn't say a damn word. He just kept marching us towards the line. But I've always thought about that. I thought it was so crazy.
I actually have audio of you saying that. Is it?
Fucking shit!
I think you. Is that how you said it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, it might as well have been.
So looking back on it, if you had to come up with I guess a common explanation, an earthly explanation, as do you think it could be aircraft, a weather balloon, swamp gas?
It had to be an aircraft, and it was silent too, and it was close enough to where I would have heard something humming or anything. Even though we were marching, we were quiet. You know, it was dead quiet. Nobody talks in formation.
Yeah, but you did. You talked.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did, and they didn't punish me for it or anything. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just so crazy, especially how it corkscrewed in a straight line across our vision, and it took off as soon as I saw it. As soon as I looked up at that point above the water tower, and the only thing I can say is probably an unmanned drone or some kind of alien technology. I mean, what else is there?
Well, I mean, so it was there, just kind of doing its own thing. You noticed it, and then it reacted to you, correct?
That's what it seemed. That's what it seemed like, for sure. And I've always kind of tried to review it in my mind and think of anything else it could be. And the way that it did, it just reacted instantly. As soon as I fixed my eyes on it, it just reacted instantly and started going off in an easterly direction and corkscrewing, almost to show off. It was, I don't know, I felt like they were using us as kind of like target practice. Maybe they just needed some surveillance system to check, because we were moving in a mass formation. There's probably 250 people in the formation, separate formations, but multiple formations. But that would be the perfect area to work on target systems or, figure out surveillance or anything like that.
Yeah.
And then to have somebody look up and notice that, they were like, oh, shit. But I don't know. I felt like they were showing off. So I don't know.
So when you guys got back to the barracks and bathed each other, did you guys talk about it in the bathroom with each other?
I don't remember talking about it. I just kind of let it go, and we did the rest of the PT test, and I don't remember chatting with anybody about it. Maybe one of my close buddies, just BSing about it. But I think in my mind, I just put it off as like a military test plane or something that was being tested. So I didn't want to mention anything to get, for fear of getting backlash or anything like that, especially being under contract with a security clearance,
Sure.
I didn't want to get any backlash from that.
Yeah, you don't want them to think you're goofy or anything.
Yeah, well, yeah, and being in basic too, I was trying to be, hardcore and do my thing.
Yeah, of course, I get it. Hey, that's pretty cool. I wish I don't have a story like that. I have yet to see a UFO. I'm hoping to change that when I go out to Arizona this next year and go look at that open sky.
Yeah, you really should, man.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you live in the city. People don't really get a chance to look at the stars in the city. And I've always lived in the country type areas, and I was raised in went through the Boy Scouts, and I was always fascinated with the stars. But I was always looking at the sky and never saw anything until this moment, and it just blew my mind.
I used to live out in the country, away from the city when I was growing up, and I'd go out and look at the stars as much as possible. I'm a little bit more observant now. I saw some satellites back then. I probably have seen some things that could be UFOs. Don't know, but most likely satellites. Never saw anything like a corkscrew or zigzagging or really moving in a way that couldn't be explained by normal aircraft or satellites. So I'm looking forward to seeing something, though.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. You almost feel special about it, And one of my buddies actually had a funny one. I was driving, and he saw a green orb look like it crashed in another neighborhood close by where we were driving. And I didn't see the green orb. I just saw a glimpse of light, and it went down in a direction. It was out of the corner of my eye. But by the time he said something to me, it was already down. And we even went over into the neighborhood to look and couldn't find anything, at all.
Bizarre.
Yeah, crazy. And that was up in Washington State, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things that happen up there. A lot of Bigfoot sightings up there.
Yeah, thanks again for
man.
everything you do, man. This is Manny, by the way.
Hey, thanks, Manny. I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you calling in, man. I really appreciate this story.
All right.
Thanks, man. Have a good night.
Oh, Hey, also, the Rendlesham Forest incident.
Yes.
That is crazy, especially how detailed it is by I think it was a lieutenant colonel or somebody that went out there with a group of people who looked and found these triangle-shaped imprints in the ground, and still to this day, nothing grows in that area and that right around those prints. And
the Rendlesham Forest is very interesting because it's accounts from military officers out there in the forest, and they got back to base. They had audio recordings, I believe, they had close encounters, and I believe one of the officers actually got close enough and had some sort of communication where there was a bunch of binary downloaded into his brain, and he was able to go back and write the binary code.
Yep, exactly. And I think he's the one that touched it, and then he got the binary.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just like a small paragraph either. I think it was a couple pages of binary.
It was a very interesting code. It was basically a transmission from this craft that was basically stating that it was almost like a drone from the future. And I'm trying to bring it up on screen right now of what this actually read. But the Rendlesham Forest is one of those things that has been, I think, is more important than Roswell at this point because of the eyewitnesses and the communication of this craft that was there and then took off. And there's numerous eyewitnesses.
And then the integrity of those people that reported it, like they were legitimate people, like legitimate officers and his, underlings or whatever, reporting this and the detail of reporting. They had recordings, they had notes, like you say, like that. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And
there you go.
I actually have the binary code up here on screen. And it says, according to this website, but it looks pretty legit when it comes to the Rendlesham Forest incident. Exploration. This is what the code says. That was downloaded into this guy's head, and he wrote it out. Exploration of Humanity 666810052, and then I think some coordinates actually there. Continuous for planetary advance, fourth coordinate conduit, UQS QBRP, like. Before, these are all coordinates, and it actually has like the latitude and longitude of Brazil, Arizona, Great Pyramid of Giza, Nazca lines, and then eyes of your eyes origin. It's then the origin year is 8100.
This man claims he has been to the year 5000.
But yeah, that's what this got downloaded into this guy's head. Now, remembering binary is one thing. Writing it as somewhat coherent out of your head, I would say is almost damn near impossible unless you're some sort of like savant. That's all you know how to do is remember these coded segments to write binary.
Yeah. Yeah, and he wasn't. He was, just a lieutenant colonel or something like that in the army stationed in the Rendlesham area. Like what? There's no way he could have known how to write that coherent of a story in binary. Just make it up from.
It'd be very unlikely. Very unlikely how to do that. I mean, I think each one of these characters, it'd be insane just to remember how to print the word before in binary. It would be insane. So. Yeah, there's a lot to this.
I couldn't do it. There's no way.
Yeah, there's a lot to this case, and it happened over there in jolly old England, and not really talked about too much when it comes to all this sensational UFOs. People like to dwell on Roswell, and I like talking about it, but there's much more interesting incidents out there, like this Rendlesham
burnt out, but yeah.
But it's World UFO Day, and that's what we're celebrating here.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I figured I'd share a story that I haven't really talked about with pretty much anybody except for one of my best friends, and it's pretty mind blowing. Still, I still don't know what I saw, but it was cool.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story, man. It means a lot to me. Hopefully, I'll have one that I can share with everyone out there when I get back from Arizona in late January of 2019. I can't believe I'm even saying the year 2019. But,
I know, isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
Well, thanks again, Mike. I appreciate everything.
Thanks, Manny. Have a good night.
Go back to work.
Yeah, Rendlesham. What an incident. And then Manny's story about observing a UFO. And then as soon as he noticed it, it moved away. And it seems like I've heard that quite often. That when a UFO, traditional UFO, is observed, it starts to act as though it knows it's being watched. There's reports like that. And the Skinwalker Ranch book, if there's a documentary called Australian Skies, where the whole documentary is about this guy who has the most incredible experiences of not only observing UFOs on a consistent basis, but being able to predict where and when they might occur. He has a feeling that he will go outside and be able to see them. They react to his observations. This guy in this documentary, Australian Skies, is harassed by men in black kind of people. Fascinating that this guy has so many maybe close encounters, at least eyewitness kind of I guess close encounters of the first or second kind, I guess. And has many, I think, photographs of it, videos, and just a very interesting documentary following this guy around. Australian Skies. Check it out. And I'll be here for another few minutes. I don't know if there's any other stories that I gotta get to. I think there's plenty in the links, plenty in the description. There's plenty of links in the description. World UFO Day. I guess I can, since we're talking about it, I can bring up the article on World UFO Day. And I don't know, they fly UFOs at half mast on this day. World UFO Day is upon us once again, and those hunting for extraterrestrial life will be pointing their telescopes skyward once more. But you got to think, like, looking for a UFO through a telescope, not practical. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Midnight Mike.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. Just talking about UFOs here.
Oh yeah, I love it. I love everything you guys talk about, man. Long time listener, first time caller.
Hey, thank
you can call me Hooker Magnificent.
Hey, Hooker.
That's what my friends call me.
Cool, I will.
I really don't have a personal UFO experience at all. I really just got the chance. I just got off work and saw you guys were live and just got the chance to call in and tell you that you and Joe are my fucking superheroes, man.
Oh, thank you.
Y'all kick ass.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Go back to work.
Oh my God, that reminds me. I lose my shit every time I hear Alex Jones say, "You piece of shit." So when I hang up, you should call me a piece of shit.
I will absolutely do that. So Hooker, I'm talking about UFOs. It's World UFO Day. It is the anniversary of Roswell. Do you have a theory on UFOs?
Oh, definitely. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. Because I like to believe I've seen a couple things, but I'm also a avid flat earther.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what to think when it comes to that, but I like when I see shit, and 4th of July is right around the corner, and I always see shit. It's weird. I always see shit like in the fireworks. Like they're chilling kind of in the area. Like you can always see them where I'm from.
Like is illuminated by the fireworks themselves?
Yeah. Well, we had a couple pictures last year or the year before, and there was just 3 little orbs just kind of hanging out, and they were only illuminated when the fireworks went off, and it was crazy.
So you say you're an avid flat earther. We've been hoping to get a flat earther on the show. I'm open to everything, and there's people that send me links like, "Hey, Mike, check out this link about flat Earth. This kind of explains all the questions you might have." Do you have anything that you can suggest to me? A link that I can watch in about a half hour to an hour that might kind of explain the best evidence yet for flat Earth?
You, sir, are in luck. Have you ever heard of a man named Eric Dubé?
Eric Dubé, the name sounds familiar, but I don't know a lot about him.
I came across this gentleman like about 2 years ago, I believe, and I found him on YouTube, but he he has a couple. He's got his own page, but he's got a couple YouTube videos that are like an hour and a half long.
Okay.
And it's just him narrating slideshows, basically. But he's very calm. He doesn't try to argue with anybody. He just presents facts that he himself has gone out and done the research on, and all the research throughout history. And it is so fucking compelling. It's ridiculous. Because I mean, when I first heard it, obviously, almost like anybody nowadays, I was like, "You're fucking stupid." Sure. Like you think the Earth is flat? You're fucking stupid. But I sat down and I really listened to this guy, and then I did a little bit more. But Eric Dubé, if you really find anything on flat Earth, take a listen to Eric Dubé.
I have it up on screen right now. I'm going to dig through it. I am, I kind of believe in a little bit of everything. I think it can be both flat and round at the same time, depending on the observation and what's needed for that day. If we do live like in a, if our reality is manifested by our minds to a certain degree, then we can manifest it any which way that it renders in the most optimal way for the universe to give it to us. So, I don't discount this stuff. I like talking about this weird stuff, especially even the flat Earth stuff. I know a lot of people in the conspiracy community write flat earthers off as disinfo. They're sent into like our conspiracy to make all the rest of the conspiracy theorists look insane. I don't really think that. I can see why they think that, but I'm open to it. It's interesting to me.
Well, it's a lot about the approach too. A lot of these people come at other people way too strong.
Yeah.
Kind of like them stereotypical Christians.
Yeah.
That just hit you with it and don't let up. But some of it's that, I think, because I know a couple people that are huge conspiracy theorists, but they go off about like the JFK stuff, and they've been going off lately about Pizzagate, and they just hit you so hard with it, and their just intensity to bring to the subject is half the reason why I don't like even talking about some of it.
Yeah,
and then
become like a zealot.
They're just fucking crazy.
Yeah, they become like a zealot, and there can be no more communication after that. And they're right and you're wrong, and there's no debate. Yeah, I don't like that. I like to have a conversation where it's a little bit more fluid, and no one's got to be angry about this stuff. We should all be like we're living here. It should be a nice time. We should just have our conversations. Be polite.
All right. Well, I like people that keep open minds.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's really all it takes. And that's one of the things I like about Eric Dubé, is he doesn't try to argue with anybody. He's not confrontational. He just wants to tell you what he knows. And it's pretty cool.
Cool, man. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to call in finally. And please call in again sometime.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Hey, tell Joe he's fucking sexy as hell, man. And I'm going to call back in.
Will do. We'll see everyone on Thursday. Have a good night.
Hey, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, dude, that's our last call. Thank you for all the new callers calling in, chiming in. We'll be back on Thursday because of the 4th of July, Independence Day.
Space Force
is on Wednesday. Probably going to a barbecue, setting off some fireworks, some firecrackers.
I do not fully understand.
It's a holiday in America where we celebrate our independence from British rule. Oh, those dirty Brits. Aye, look at me. I'm a British guy. I'm going to put my authority over you colonists. I will. Oh, you don't like that? I'll take your guns. You don't like that? I'll tax your tea. You don't like that? Oh, you think you're going to declare independence? Oh, you want to fight? Oops, you won. Oh, look at you. You're a new country. That's how the war was won, right there. So, yeah, we'll be back on Thursday. Yeah, I got a barbecue to go to with my girlfriend. And we're going to have a nice time. I think so. As long as they don't give me fireworks. I don't think I have a good track record with fireworks. Should I not put the fireworks in my hand and light them? Is that bad? Should I not do that? I will not be doing it. Keep me away from the firecrackers and lighters. Keep me away. I drive like a grandpa on the road. But I'm a maniac with firecrackers and golf carts. That's right. Oh boy, we got I'm already lining up material for Thursday, people. Already lining up material for Thursday. We got time portals. I got probably have a little bit more Skinwalker Ranch weave in as I read the book, and there's a ton of other things to get to.
I feel sorry for your mother.
Yes.
Oh, I hit the glory hole right here.
Thank you, everyone. And I'll talk to you next time.
Go back to work.
Oh, my.
Serenity now!
Now, back to business.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening.